With the arrival of Lolita Revamp, the Fragment shop getting updated. Along with a bunch of visually revamped heroes, we have a lot to share in this video. Hi guys, Kazuki here, and in this video we are going to talk about a big update which arrived in the original server and also discuss the changes that came up with patch note 1.8.20. Here are the questions from our previous video. The first question is from Trollface and he is asking what's my zodiac sign. Since my birth date is December 6th, it's Sagittarius. The second question is from Ikaz Gaming and he is asking how is my cat doing. It's doing pretty well, thanks for asking, and I will surely post this photo on community post by tomorrow. Drop your questions in the comment section below and I will answer them. Do keep an eye out for the hidden codes in this video. Let's start with hero adjustments. Matilda is buffed. Matilda is getting a significant upgrade to enhance her control and ease to use. Skill 1 is buffed. The damage has been modified to a range of 275 in the early game and 500 in the late game, with an 80% magic power addition. Matilda now benefits from increased wisp duration, which harmonizes perfectly with the new ultimate changes. Not to forget, the damage amplification with more wisp ramping up by 20%. Skill 2 is buffed. Allies now have a substantially increased time frame to decide their day's direction post exiting Guiding Wind, adding a strategic edge to their moves. A notable decrease in cooldown times, now ranging from 12 to 11 seconds, enabling quicker skill uses and faster gameplay. Ultimate is buffed. Matilda can now zero in on an area to rush to, delivering a potent knock-up effect to enemies she encounters on her path. Matilda transfers the soul mark to the first enemy impacted by her second stage dash, enhancing her control in skirmishes. The flying speed during the initial stage of the ultimate has been trimmed, but fret not. This allows for a prolonged flight duration, facilitating better positioning before initiating her second stage dash. A significant improvement sees Matilda opting for smarter flight paths, steering clear of unwanted engagements and ensuring her flight isn't interrupted by close quarter heroes. Flooring is adjusted. Floorine's passive skill, Deus Lantern, now directly upgrades all her skills, no need for separate upgrade. Although the movement speed boost while healing teammates with the Flower of Hope is no longer available. The base shield has been adjusted to 150 and it scales with her level, offering up to 50 magic power at the maximum level. The Flower of Hope has seen some modification. Florine can share equipment after staying out of combat for 5 seconds, while the 10% hybrid lifesteal has been removed. Every so often a skill or basic attack now deals extra magic damage, adding an exciting twist to your battle. Florine's first skill cast in the upgraded range right from the start of the match. The HP regeneration and the magic power bonus to damage have been tweaked to 175 in the early game and 225 in the late game, and an increase of 25% magic power. And the cooldown time has increased slightly by 1 second at all levels, prompting a more strategic gameplay. The skill 2 now has an upgraded range from the very beginning, stunning targets hit by it for a short duration of 0.7 seconds, adding a layer of strategy to your encounters. Ultimate skill is revamped. The HP regeneration has been recalibrated and the ultimate damage removed, ensuring balanced combat dynamics. The cooldown time now stands at 70 seconds at all levels, encouraging a more thoughtful approach to using this skill. Rafaela is enhanced. Rafaela's skill 2 has got a fantastic upgrade, making her a staunch ally in battles. She now clears slow effects and gains a 1.5 seconds immunity to them. Although her speed boost is reduced to 30%, she gains an additional 1% movement speed for every 20 magic power. Plus the HP regen for nearby teammates and the teammate with the lowest HP has been adjusted to provide a more robust support during the game. Ultimate is buffed. The indicator width has increased, and the time between each holy light cast is reduced, making our ultimate a force to be reckoned with despite a slight reduction in stun duration. Estes is adjusted. Skill 1 is adjusted. First stage HP regen now is decreased by 75 points in the late game and an increase of 40% magic power bonus. Continuous HP regen has been altered to 325 to 400 plus 60% magic power. When linking with a teammate, Estes grants them extra hybrid defense instead of additional attack power. Enhanced skill 1 is adjusted. First stage HP regen has been bumped to 500 to 700, coupled with a staggering 220% magic power bonus. The continuous HP regens, the numbers now 1170 to 1470 plus the magic power has been doubled. Ultimate is adjusted. HP regen feature now operates at 1230 to 1470, fortified with a 210 magic power bonus. Diggy is adjusted. His ultimate is adjusted. The ultimate shield is decreased by 120 points in the late game, but the magic power bonus is increased by 100% of the total magic power. Angela is adjusted. Skill 1 is adjusted. The HP regen now operates at 150-200 with an enhanced 90% magic power bonus. Ultimate is adjusted. Our shield stands strong with the shield power ranging from 1200 to 2000 combined with a versatile 200% to 400% magic power bonus. Yuzong is buffed. His passive is buffed. Experience the extra damage based on the target's lost HP, which has been amped up from 2% to 2.5%. Skill 1 is buffed. Sharpened Edge's damage has been increased by 25%. Skill 2 is buffed. The cooldown period is now uniform 12 seconds at all levels. Phoveus is buffed. His skill 1 is buffed. The skill recharge time is decreased by 2 seconds in the late game. Mana cost is consistently at 40 now, aiding a sustainability. You will now deal a striking 300 in the early game and 600 in the late game with a 120% magic power boost. Skill 2 is buffed. Cooldown reduced to a flexible range of 13.5 in the early game and 11 seconds in the late game. Ultimate is buffed. Now enjoy a faster pace with a cooldown decrease of 6 seconds in the early game and 4 seconds in the late game. Julian is back, building skills with reduced cooldown times for a more swift battle approach. Passive is buffed. The cooldown now range between 9 in the early game and 6 seconds in the late game. Benedetta has gained a substantial increase in her slashing power. In skill 1, the slash damage has been ramped up, now ranging between 75 in the early game and 200 in the late game. With an improved physical attack percentage of 100%, moreover, you can deploy slashes more frequently thanks to the reduced cooldown time, which is now between 10 in the early game and 6.5 seconds in the late game. Arman is buffed. Acknowledging the excessive nerf in the previous adjustment, Arman sees a reversal in his ultimate's range, now expanded by 0.5 units, restoring his capacity to deal more encompassing damage in battles. Johnson is adjusted. Johnson's ultimate is becoming more interactive, allowing for team synchronization. Now teammates have to manually opt in to join Johnson's car right by tapping a button, making the gameplay more engaging. Akai is buffed. Akai is receiving a boost in sustainability with an increase in his passive skill. The HP based shield bonus and basic attack damage bonus are now elevated by 1%. Also, skill 2 now exerts a stronger slow effect by 15% with a reduced cooldown time, ranging between 7 in the early game and 4.5 seconds in the late game, enhancing his role in controlling the battlefield. Barret's is buffed. Barret sees a substantial reduction in mana cost, promoting sustained presence in battles without relying on creep buffs. His skill 1 now requires significantly less mana, with mana cost being 25 in the early game and 50 in the late game. Skill 2, the mana cost is also lowered to 70 in the early game, respectively facilitating more frequent skills deployments. Bakshia is buffed. Skill 1 of Bakshia undergoes a slight tweak, now featuring a longer stun duration of 1.5 seconds, giving him an edge in initiating clashes. However, be cautious of the increased cooldown time, now standing between 15 in the early game and 12 seconds in the late game. Minotaur is buffed. To align with the new equipment dynamics, Minotaur's skill 2 now incorporates an HP regen bonus derived from magic power, enhancing his durability in battles. Lilia is buffed. Responding to the previous overwhelming adjustments, Lilia gets her prowess reinstated with modified shadow energy combos. Now at maximum level, Gloom's explosion hitting an enemy hero grant Lilia a swift 50% skill recharge time, opening avenues for pro players to unleash more potent combos. Low E is buffed. Experience and increased maximum speed up to 50% in her passive skill. Skill 1 now packs a punch with an escalated base damage, now ranging from 210 in the early game and 510 in the late game, boosted further with a 15% magic power boost. Cyclops is buffed. Witness Cyclops stepping up with improved early lane clearing speed and mobility. Skill 1 now features a reduced cooldown time by 0.5 seconds and a flexible mana cost of 50 in the early game and 100 in the late game. Skill 2 grants a burst of speed starting with a 50% boost and gradually decaying over 2 seconds. Ixia is buffed. Ixia emerges stronger with a redefined ultimate that boasts an extended cast range of 11 units and streamlined casting capabilities, allowing simultaneous uses of Siphon Stallium and basic attacks during the ultimate. The cooldown is increased by 6 seconds in the early game and 2 seconds in the late game. Popol and Koopa are buffed. This dynamic duo has been tuned for faster jungling and late game power surges. Their passive skill grants Koopa a significant damage increase against creeps. Now standing at 150%, Skill 1 and 2 observe modified cooldown times to promote aggressive playstyles. Melissa is buffed. Melissa returns to forefront with a partially reverted nerf, now sporting an enhanced attack speed boost ranging between 50% in the early game and 75% in the late game for Skill 1. Van 1 is adjusted. Her passive skill benefits from a boosted basic attack damage. The total physical attack has been increased by 10%. The interval between her basic attacks while standing has been increased, while Skill 2 demands careful uses with an increased cooldown time of 6 seconds in the early game and 8 seconds in the late game. Players can expect varied performance based on individual skill levels. Petrix is adjusted. Observe a decreased late game damage in submachine gun mode of 1.5% in the early game and 5% in the late game. Increased early game damage in shotgun mode by 28% in the early game, ensuring a balanced performance across different phases of the game. Mia Skill 2 undergoes a revamp with optimized animations, featuring a longer cast range coupled with a slight increase in delay time, demanding precise timing and strategy during uses. Bruno is nerfed. Bruno was too OP with the new revamped crit items, so Skill 1 now deals base damage ranging between 120 in the early game and 270 in the late game. Claude is nerfed. His ultimate skill now inflicts a base damage between 130 in the early game and 180 in the late game. It no longer deals extra damage to minions, and attack effects inheritance has been reduced by 16%. Leslie is nerfed. Leslie's passive skill undergoes a nerf to tone down her combat power, now featuring an initial critical damage decrease of 10%. Fanny is nerfed. Fanny sees a slight reduction in her base damage in Skill 1 of 20 points in the early game and 30 points in the late game. Paquito is nerfed. Paquito faces a decrease in mobility with altered cooldown times in Skill 1 and 2. The cooldown for Skill 1 is fixed at 7 seconds at all levels. The cooldown for Skill 2 is increased by 1 second in the late game, demanding a more calculated approach to battles. Kadita is nerfed. Kadita experiences a reduction in early game burst damage, with Skill 1 now dealing less damage by 50 points in all levels. Ultimate now inflicts lesser base damage by 30 points at all levels. The return wave damage is decreased by 20 points. The effect where enemies hit by multiple waves take reduced damage has been removed. Valentina is nerfed. Due to her superior versatility, Valentina sees a reduction in her damage output in Skill 1, now standing at 300 in the early and 600 in the late game with a 165% magic power boost. Eve is nerfed. Eve undergoes a nerf that slightly impairs her lane clearing ability, with Skill 1 now excluding minions from extra center damage. First up, let's talk about Nolan and his awe-inspiring passive skill, the Dimension Rift. This skill allows Nolan to tear through a space, creating rifts on the ground. If these rifts touch each other, they explode after a bit, not only causing damage but also dragging enemies into them. And guess what? If Nolan stays out of the fray for a bit, he powers up his next basic attack, dashes towards the target, causes damage and leaves a rift behind. Sound cool, doesn't it? Nolan's first skill expansion lets him slice a rectangular area right in front of him, inflicting physical damage and creating a rift. In the second skill, Cold Gorge, he charges headfirst in the targeted direction, dishing out physical damage to his enemies while leaving a rift in his wake. His ultimate called Fracture. Hold on to your seats because Nolan goes all out here, hitting enemies in the target area 3 times. Yes, creating 3 more rifts. And here's the cherry on the top, he gets rid of all debuffs on him and dashes backwards, triggering a massive detonation of the rifts. Next is the revamped hero, the Steel Elf Lolita. Brace yourself because she came back with a bang, serving both protective vibes and dominate control over her enemies. Lolita has been jazzed up with an optimized user experience for all her skills. But to keep things fair and square in top level ranked and pro matches, her damage and durability have taken a slight dip. Her attributes are wee-bit nerfed, her base HP takes a slide by 124 points, her HP growth has been notched down by 22 points, her base physical defense is decreased by 7 points, her passive New Menon Energy Core is boosted. Lolita and her nearby allies can now enjoy a shield even during combat, popping up every once in a while. Skill 1 Power Charge. Now Lolita can shift her position with Skill 1 even when Skill 2 is active. Base damage has been increased by 100 points in the early and 75 points in the late game. And guess what? It doubles against minions. The damage based on the target's maximum HP has been removed. And the stun duration now sits at a quick 0.5 seconds, down by 0.3 seconds. Skill 2 Guardian Reflection. Lolita's shield is stepping up, not just blocking but reflecting all incoming ranged basic attacks and projectiles. But keep an eye out, it breaks after seeking a certain amount of damage. Ultimate, No Menon Blast. A little interruption can't stop her now. Even if charged up, Lolita can still stun her enemies based on the charging time. If a CC skill interrupts her while she is channeling her ultimate, she casts it immediately, with damage and stun duration based on the channeling time at interruption. The slow effect is now at 50% and the damage is a bit moderate to keep the balance. Cooldown has a slight increase of 7 seconds at all levels. Moving to the battlefield adjustments. The medal point algorithm is reconstructed. Each player's points are now determined by their relative performance as a member of the team throughout the game. All effective shields and healing that a player grants their allies and control effects inflicted on enemies are counted towards the medal points. They adjusted the weight of the match statistics such as KDA damage and damage taken to make them equally important so that certain roles don't have greater advantage in earning medal points. They have slightly reduced the experience required from level 3 to level 4 while increasing the experience needed from level 4 to level 6. The overall experience required from level 3 to level 6 remain unchanged. The experience from buff creeps are increased by 1 to 2%. In the equipment section, they have optimized some magic utility equipment to give support heroes better choices. The new item Flask of the Oasis is now available. Its attributes consist of plus 60 magic power, plus 300 maximum HP, plus 10% cooldown reduction. It has a unique attribute of plus 12% healing effect. Its unique passive is called Blessing, where after casting a healing or shield skill, if the target's HP is below or falls below 35% within 5 seconds, they will gain a shield for 3 seconds. When this effect triggers, it also reduces the cooldown of the caster's skills. Fleeting time is adjusted now. Instead of plus 350 maximum mana, it now gives plus 300 maximum HP. Its attributes and build path are adjusted accordingly. Demon Shoes is adjusted now. Its unique passive where hero kills or assists restores mana by 10% is removed now. And a new effect is added where the minion kills or assists restores mana by 4%. Warrior Boots is buffed now. Its unique passive Valor now grants 4 physical defense when taking physical damage. Ice Queen Wand is nerfed now. Its unique passive, Icebound, now stacks up to 3 times and slows the enemy hero by 10%. The slow effect now has a 1 second cooldown. Power Potion is buffed now. Lifesteal is increased by 10%. Magic Potion is buffed now. Cooldown reduction is increased by 5%. Rogue Potion is buffed now. Control duration reduction is increased by 10%. In the emblem section, support's healing effect is decreased by 3%. The Talon Life Drain is now replaced by Wilderness Blessing, where it grants extra movement speed in jungle and river. Pro setups have been updated for some regions. The auto-targeting range has been reduced after kills. The refresh indicator logic has been updated to make it smoother. Special effects have been added when you use rapid boots. The joystick dragging has been optimized. The default display interface and Eurodisho display interface have been revamped with a significant improvement in graphic quality. The Sanctum Island map has been optimized. There is a new attack animation from bases. MSC skin tags have been updated for Jawhead, Leomord, Claude and Atlas. They now display what year the MSC was held. Let's move on to weekly free heroes. Here are the weekly free heroes from September 15 to 22nd. Here are the extra free heroes for Starlight members. September 22nd to 29th, here are your free heroes for upcoming week. And our Starlight members get these additional heroes. October 6th to 13th, team up with these free heroes, and Starlight members grab the opportunity to play with these additional heroes. Here are the weekly free heroes from October 6th to 13th. Here are the extra free heroes for Starlight members. This week, 13th October to 20th October, we will have these free heroes for us. Extra heroes for our Starlight members. Week of September 20th to 27th, this week's free heroes are here for us. Starlight members, you will get these bonus heroes. October 27th to November 3rd, this week we got these heroes lined up for us for free. And as usual, Starlight members, we will get these extra free heroes at your disposal. Moving to Fragment shop. In the rare skin section, Geelong Eastern Warrior, Cyclops Deep Sea Rescuer, Aldous the Insentient, Freya Dragon Hunter will be removed. Alucard Viscount, Clint Rock and Roll, Natalia Phantom Dancer, Moscow Snake Eye Commander, and Saber Golden Flash will be added. In the Hero Fragment section, Chao, Amon Kagura, and Xavier will be removed. Hylos, Diggy, Beatrix, Fredrin, Lilia, Kaja, Opal and Koopa, Vexana, Irithel, Benedetta, Melissa and Wanwan will be added. This update will arrive on the 20th of September. The new main interface is now available. A detailed guide on it will be made soon. Moving on to system adjustments. Starting 19th of September, weekly Diamond Pass purchases, subscriptions or renewals will be immediately gives 80 diamonds and 1 late sign-in card. This reward will now be sent directly instead of the saving box. Also, you will be able to purchase up to 10 weekly Diamond Passes now. Moving to others. The recruitment feature has been optimized and will be available soon in the upcoming patches. Johnson's skill have been renamed to better match his revamped story and the visual effects of his skills. Passive ability previously known as Electro Airbag will now be called Electro Airbag. Skill 1 has changed from Deadly Pincers to Impact Range. Skill 2 formerly Electromag Rays has been updated to Electromagnetic Waves. Lastly, the ultimate skill Rapid Touchdown has been renamed to Full Throttle. They have polished the wordings in short hero introductions and item descriptions to provide a better reading experience. They have streamlined the text of the mastery code for better comprehension and improved user experience. Moving to bug fixes. They have fixed a glitch where Natalia would prematurely enhance her basic attack without using the bush strategy. They addressed a visual glitch that caused Alucard's enhanced basic attack to display incorrectly at high attack speeds. A bug causing advanced retribution to deal exceedingly high damage to Atlas has been fixed. They resolved a visual issue where Clint's enhanced basic attack wasn't shown on its actual target. They fixed an issue where the actual damage radius of Beatrix's whisker relation didn't match the indicated radius. An issue is fixed where players were inadvertently joining games despite initiating cancel matchmaking. So that was all the changes which arrived. Did you like the new UI, or are you happy with buffs and nerfs of different heroes? Share your thoughts in the comment section. That will be all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Keep supporting Kazuki Official.